Right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to PSG's webinar on Health Canada and FDA regulations for cannabis facility management and security. Thank you so much for choosing PSG as your professional development resource. My name is Shirley, and I'll be your host for today. Before we get started, I'd like to quickly introduce your GoToWebinar toolbar with you. So as you can see, you have a question or chat bar on your GoToWebinar toolbar. Please use this to type in any questions at any time during the webinar. Questions will be addressed by our speaker at the end of the webinar. You also have a handouts bar, and you can find the slides to this presentation located here. So you could please take a moment to click to open the slideshow presentation. You can do so now. Please note that this webinar is scheduled to run until 4 p.m. today. And now I'd like to take this time to welcome and introduce our speaker for today. It's Pavan Peruzzi. Pavan holds a PhD in Physiology and Biophysics, a Master's of Science in Biological Sciences, a Master's of Business Administration, and is accredited by the Canadian Council of Pharmaceutical Education with professional certifications in evidence-based medicine, psychiatry, and management. Pavan has worked with Pfizer, Apotex, as well as being a senior consultant and auditor for several companies, including RxSource, CMX Research, Pepti Group, and more. Pavan's academic teaching experience since 1990 includes Seneca, Humber, UQAM, University of Montreal, University of Sherbrooke, and Crown Medical Research and Pharmaceutical Sciences College of Canada. Pavan has authored more than 65 scientific realizations, including 12 publications in the National Library of Canada, several oral and poster presentations, over 200 academic and internet publications, over 1,000 technical and scientific reports, and over 800 SOPs related to GCP, GMP, GPP, GVP, and GLP compliance. So without further ado, Pavan, thank you again for being here for this webinar, and I will pass it over to you.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I hope that you can all hear me well. When I was listening to Shirley, I was not able to really recognize all of the words, so I'm going to speak slowly. And on the other note, also, I cannot see you, which is very sad. I've said to Shirley that I would have loved to be able to see you, each of you on the webcams, but I will not be able. So if you have any question, please kindly send us through the chat, or at the end of this session, we can chat. If not, you can send your questions to Shirley. Very much. So I'm going just to start with, again, the topic, which is very interesting and very simple. I tell you right now, even before starting, I can tell you that everything should be GMP compliant. But of course, we're going to look into details because that's why you are here. We would like to know more and again, share our knowledge. The topic is Health Canada and FDA regulations for cannabis facility management and security. Of course, we're going to look into, I'm going to the next slide. We are going to, perfect. I have to wait so that you will be able to see that. It takes time before it shows up. Okay, I can start and then it will be showed on the screen. The first one, of course, we're going to talk about the plans and operations. Then we're going to talk about the maintenance of the facility. Then we are going to look into the communications, of course, with different authorities, but also with employees as well. Then we are going to look into quality and reporting. We're going to talk about the total quality management system, which is exactly what we are always talking about when we talk about GMP. So in the States, same thing, CGMP is going to, CGMP standing for Current Good Manufacturing Practice, is going to have the final say. The same thing in Canada with the GMP. Then we are going to look into disaster recovery. So you need to have a plan for your facility, so that if something happens and disaster happens, how you're going to continue your business. Then we are going to talk about the HR and suitability assessment, then about the compliance, of course, with regulations. And what is interesting is that in Canada, as we all know, this is a federal, Cannabis Act is Canadian, is federal, and it applies to all of the provinces. However, in the US, as we all know again, this is not federal. It's mainly based on the states. That's why you will find different types of rules and regulations, and even a cost for the licenses in each state. Not all, of course, not yet, but it's not yet established the way that it has been established in Canada. And this is why we will see in the next slides, for example, that FDA is still taking care of drugs, of course, but they came up with some requirements, and of course those requirements are always based on the drugs, so CGMP. Then we are going to look into system designs and SOPs. Like any other GMP compliant facility, we need to have SOPs. Any activity, any redundant activity needs